What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us here today on the VSO Gun Channel. Let me know how the sound of this video is doing. We're in the vault. It's not quite complete yet. I promise. I've heard your guys' inquiries about the vault. We'll have a full video coming. I did some filming for it yesterday, but I've just got back from Lowe's. I got like the last thing I got to do in here to make it ready for video presentation. So promise, it's coming soon. But that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about Shopify today. I was passed some information by a friend just a few minutes ago. I dropped all my stuff at the gym to run home and start filming this thing so I could get it to you guys quickly so you guys were informed. So basically Shopify kicked the entire gun industry off of their service today. We all know in this day and age how important e-commerce is, and this may not seem like on its face like that big of a deal. However, I think we need to unpack this a little bit and we'll fully understand the scope of what just happened. The vast majority of companies that work in the accessories realm, or maybe even some complete gun companies, things like that, use Shopify. It's a very easy to use platform. I've kind of played with the back end of it a little bit to see just how it works, and it's a pretty user-friendly thing. I can understand why companies would want to use it, and being as integrated with a service like that is a great thing as far as the shopping experience for the end user is concerned, but it leaves you open to things like this. To understand why this is such a huge problem and why this time was picked, I think we need to kind of go into the fiscal life cycle of a gun company or firearms related company, excuse me, so that we can understand what just happened. A look at the fiscal year of a firearms related company in thirds. So you've got basically a chunk from January to May, and then you've got May-ish to November-ish, September, November-ish, and then you've got the rest of the year. And I know that those are not equal, but that's basically going to be our representation. So if we start with the latter half of the year, like the September, November to December part, holidays, weather's cooling down, people are getting out and hunting and all that sort of stuff, sales are up. So there's a lot of revenue brought in that time of year. And then a big chunk of that is spent in January for the NSSF SHOT Show. And you can argue all day, but the SHOT Show is basically the most prolific event in the firearms industry. So a lot of money's put out there, but then also a lot of exposure is brought to them. Sales again spike in January, and they continue that trend to the summer-ish time. So that one band that I told you, from basically May-ish to early September-ish, is when sales are in a complete famine. So gun companies are strapped for cash. They're starting to really pay attention to their expenditures and things like that. What Shopify has done, and who would have more information on companies like this than the person or the company that handles all of the marketeering of their products, the actual point of sale, other than, Shopify's got it all. So they would know exactly when to strike. And can you get any more geometric center of the downturn in any firearms related business than August 14th? You can't. Gun sales in general are down right now. And then on top of it is the summer slump, what we call the summer slump. The other ulterior motive in Shopify doing this is that, by and large, firearms related enthusiasts are not as plugged in the summer months. We're outside doing things. The weather's nice. We're out shooting those firearms that we purchased the rest of the year. We're spending more money on ammo than we are on firearms. So right now is the perfect time to kick a company while they're down, which is exactly what Shopify did. So I'm just going to read you through the definitions that I have right here so that you guys can see this. So this is restricted items, certain firearms. Automatic firearms that have not been rendered inoperable. Yeah, since you can totally get those outside of the NFA or post-sample. Semi-automatic firearms that has a Shopify needs to learn how to their person needs to learn how to write sentences. So what they mean is a semi-automatic firearm that has the capacity to accept detachable magazines with one or more of the following items. Magazine capable of accepting more than 10 rounds, a bump stock, a rapid fire activator or trigger crank, barrel shroud, since, yeah, they just want you to get burnt, a thumb hole stock, a threaded barrel capable of accepting a flash suppressor, sound suppressor, or silencer. Again, their person who writes their stuff needs to go back to freshman composition and learn about parallel structure in their writing, but that's beside my point. Grenade or rocket launcher, flash suppressor, sound suppressor, or silencer, pistol grip, forward pistol grip, semi-automatic firearm that has a fixed magazine. I mean, we can just keep going. I mean, we've got 3D printed guns. We got 80%. I'll put a link to this down below so you guys can go read this. So basically what they've done is basically say, if you are involved in any of this stuff, you're off. So again, my argument for why this is happening now may have seemed a little bit patchy, but when you've got your entire web store integrated with a service like Shopify, and then suddenly they just boot you off, you now have to go find somebody that can completely rebuild the backside of your site, spending tens of thousands of dollars in a time of year where you don't have tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, it can cost $50,000, $60,000 to rebuild the back end of a site like that. And smaller companies probably don't have that laying around this time of year. So like that's a big deal. So again, on top of that, they're pulling this thing when you are not paying as much attention. You won't care as much about it because you're actually out doing things. So this is an attack on the e-commerce side of the firearms industry. What do? I mean, we're just consumers, right? I mean, what are we supposed to do about this situation? Well, I can think of a couple different things. One, share this video. Just send it out on Facebook, send it out on wherever it is that you communicate with your friends. Get this video out there so that people can understand this is occurring, because again, like I said, not as many people are as plugged in to this time of year. Number two, contact Shopify. Tell them that they're completely off base with this, virtue signaling crap that they're doing. Just let them know that you don't support their decision and that you are not going to continue to use sites that use their service. So that, vote with your wallet, people. Number three, and this one is likely to have the greatest impact. If you're out browsing around on the internet, just shopping, and you've come across something that you would like to purchase, and you notice that that website uses Shopify, send that business a message and let them know that because of their decision to continue to use Shopify, even though they are not associated with the firearms industry, that your principles do not allow you to patronize their business, because you will not in any way, shape, or form support Shopify because of their decision to basically single out an entire legal, legitimate business and try to put the brakes on them. This kind of, again, virtue signaling, guys, we have to be on top of it, and we have to nip it in the bud before it becomes widespread. Now, as far as why should you care about this, right? One, Second Amendment, right? Like, you either have Second Amendment principles or you don't. When people are screwing with us, we have to stick together. But at a greater level, let's talk about economics for a second. So if these companies that do survive this kind of purge from the internet, if you will, they're going to have to absorb that cost to completely rebuild their sites. They're going to have to absorb that and offset it somehow. And how is that going to be offset? Well, the way any business offsets anything is you got to raise your prices. You have to bring in more revenues to be able to offset the cost of things like that. That's just the way it works. So yeah, I mean, a smart businessman will write off those problems, but in the short term, you have to make up that hemorrhage that you're going to make, again, probably $50,000, $60,000 to some of these companies to completely redo the back end of their site. If you don't believe me, ask somebody who knows more about it. I'm hoping that this video goes widespread and gets some attention. I'd like to see somebody like Computing Forever pick up this topic and talk about it a little bit more. He's more tech savvy, knows a lot more about this sort of stuff than I do. But coming from somebody who is talking about building a site, maybe not for e-commerce reasons, but for other reasons, to be able to support the types of traffic that would be associated with an e-commerce site, but for other reasons. I know what the cost of that looks like, and I can only imagine what it looks like if you're trying to sell stuff on your website as well. So anyway, I hope that this topic wasn't too boring for you guys, but it's really important. I thought it was really important to drop what I was doing today to come film this thing, because I think you guys need to know what's going on in the world around you. And I know that this isn't going to be covered on a lot of other places. So anyway, like I said, pass this thing around, tell all your friends that we're being singled out as Second Amendment supporters. I mean, they should already know that already, but we have yet another front opening up, and again, it's just not fair, but we have to fight the good fight. And that's the world that Second Amendment supporters live in. Thanks for watching the VSO Gun Channel. Hopefully we'll see you guys on a future video. Of course, if YouTube doesn't kick us off. Patreon links somewhere.